I was making bows out of acacia trees when I was about 7 or 8 years old.
So
And,
where did that come from? Were you exposed to Native
Cowboys
American
and
lore?
Indians, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from. It's cowboys and Indians. So we were kids and on the block, and so we started making bows and arrows. And of course, arrows were just sticks, and there was no feathering on them, unless we tied a string on the back of it to make it fly straight. And we would make the bow and twine it, and it would last about 2 or 3 days, and then they would not be able to shoot them anymore because they would take a set. In other words, they weren't springy anymore.
Where did you get exposed to the notion of cowboys and Indians?
Movies.
Movies.
Movie theater.
Westerns.
My mother, yeah, they didn't have an archery in the westerns too much, very little. Indians went through once in a while shooting bows and arrows, but that didn't impress me. Hopalong Cassidy and Buster Crabbe and all those guys that were making the movies back in that time. The cowboy thing, Red Ryder and Wild Bill Elliott. Those are some of the people I remember making movies about the Western tradition in a cowboy manner, because it was an art form.
I see.
It was a sport and an art form, but it was more of an art form than anything else. I wasn't interested in anything but that.
What makes it an art form?
Discipline. Repetition, over and over and over again, the same kind, until it becomes effortless, just like any art form.
Okay.
It's no different from drawing and painting than a basketball player makes an art out of it, by being able to sink the thing, by knowing how to do that. Sports take on the form of art at times.
So
be present with yourself and find out what. I happen to be lucky to realize that I had a natural predilection to be able to shoot the bow and arrow. So I really had an interest for it and enthusiasm towards it. At the same time, I was studying and drawing and painting all the time too. So it was.
So does one precede the other, or they were both happening?
They were both simultaneously in the same program, except one was archery and the other was art. And I started art drawing on. My father helped me start art. He got me crayons and papers, and I used to draw on the floor.
So
he was a sportsman, and he didn't have a son that was a baseball player or an athlete.
Right.
And so he wanted to give me something that was in that same kind of line, but was a sport. And so he viewed archery as more of a sport than anything else. And I viewed it not as a sport, but as a practice. And a practice is different than a sport.
Yeah.
Because I brought it in as a mental construct to try to get some sort of discipline, and I became very interested in Asian archery and Western archery and all the other forms of.
So, but
the Mongols.
when did that happen? Later?
Well, I can't say that. It happened all along. It was like it's one step follows another. You go to one place and pretty soon you're walking down a trail and you run into another bush or a tree.
Well, where did you run into the Asian piece?
Through Zen.
Where did you run into Zen?
Practicing it when I was in college. We practiced. There wasn't any center.
Okay.
Some Asian teacher had been interested in it, so we would sit in meditation for a period before we would start our practice. And so we would do a thing like that. But there was no formal Japanese teachers anywhere. Well, I have some knowledge, but I don't. I have some old knowledge that I pass it on to the people that come to me. I've taken on the road of that experience.
Yes.
But I've embroidered it with a lot of other things.
Well, as every
than just what I learned from them.
Right.
So it's not this tradition that I'm passing on is imbued with a lot of other threads that come from different areas and different experiences.